Church, let's level up.
I say it all the time. You need people who know you, K-N-O-W, they know you. And then you need people that N-O you. No, because I know you, you typically don't put the weave on and get your nails did and wear that skirt to go to your mama's house. You're lying to me right now. Come on, somebody. I know you're lying to me. Turn your location services on and let me track you because I don't think you're going to mama's house. So you need people who know you and say, hey, I'm not going to allow you to go back to where you came from. It's time for you to connect with some people on another level. Show me your friends, I'll show you your future. Wherever you're at right now in life, I promise you, you can go fast if you're alone, but you won't go far.
Yeah. Terry, you better get down here. Some kid just beat your high score on the Level Up arcade machine. After 20 years, your reign as champion has come to an end.
I'll be right there.
Are you sure you're up to this, Terry? It's been 20 years.
I was born for this, Sam. And I've got everything I need in my fanny pack right here.
Hairbrush, fruit snacks, extra socks in case my feet get sweaty.
Let's do this. Yeah! No!
Now, come on, I need this.
Hello, Terry. You need second player.
Multiplayer mode activated.
Oh yeah! We got him! Yeah! Oh, we did it!
You know, I love that because the creative element was basically saying, don't do life alone. When you do it alone, you fail. You got to do it with other people. You know, they say if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, bring people with you. You know, my statement I always use is, show me your friends, I'll show you your future. Let's all shout that at every campus today. What is it? Show me your friend. Have you ever noticed sometimes years ago, you start thinking about what you're thinking about and kind of observing, are the people going in the direction that you really want to go? And God will bring people into your life that'll make a difference, but you have to allow those people to come into your life. And the Bible says this, it says, to have friends, you must show yourself friendly. And so in a big church like this, maybe you went to Earth City today and you're like, my gosh, there's thousands of people sitting here. And that room is really overwhelming in there. It's just all the way back to the bathrooms right now. And then Sunset Hills, same thing, 2,400 seats. It's just, how do I get to know people? Well, what you don't do today is when you leave is to run out the side doors to the left and the right. How you make a big church small, how you make a great church even better is when the people get together. You remember this when you were a kid? Here's the church, here's the steeple, open the doors, come on, and here's look at our church. It's like, this is how we do it, right? So our church is friendly, but it'll only really benefit you when you say, hey, I'm going to take this main idea to say, I'm going to be a two-player. Anybody remember any of these games? Remember when you used to play video games? Raise your hand, right? Pac-Man was my favorite. Honest to God, I used to play that all the time because I was just a kid, but I was pretending it was church. I would pretend that these were people that I was getting saved, going to my church. God is my witness. I was a weird little kid. Also, too, I was thinking today about games we used to play before we had video games. Remember when kids used to play outside? Were you a kid that played outside? Come on, raise your hand. And we had to play outside, and we would go knocking on people's door. Anybody ever play Ding Dong Ditch? And I'd hit like 3 different doors, and then I'd be like, oh my gosh, I got to run. I'd be in a ditch. I'd be like, I'm a gang member now. I've got this whole neighborhood in an uproar, right? We played outside. But as time progresses, you play inside. Now you play on your phone. But life is more than just a game. It's saying, how can I win? And the way that you win is this: show me your friends, I'll show you your future. There's a scripture I want to go to, first of all, Ecclesiastes chapter 4. It says, 2 are better than 1. We could argue even that about donuts. Maybe I'm hungry this morning. 2 are better than 1 because they have a good reward for their labor. For if they fall, one will lift up the companion. But woe to him who is alone when he falls, for he has no one to help him or her up. So when you fall down and you're in a weak time, you need people to come beside you. And the people that I believe that you need beside you are people that have the missing ingredient that you don't have. Now, everybody has got some gift. The Bible says there's diversities of gifts, but some people have a certain gift that you need in your life. But again, you won't even know that gift until you start getting around that gift. Everybody shout, 2 are better than 1. Psalms chapter 1, verse 1. It says, blessed is the man who walks not in the counsel of the ungodly. In other words, stop watching the news. News is fake, news is a sham, news is a lie, and they're there to sell commercials, okay? I know a little bit about TV. We have Nielsen ratings every week. In fact, this week we had 365,000 people just in Palm Beach County watching the program, and then in St. Louis. Guess what? We don't sell beer commercials. We don't sell Viagra commercial. We don't sell Geritol commercials. We live by our giving, and we're affecting a lot of people. But most people on the television are doing it for sales. So don't walk in the counsel of the ungodly. What do? We go to the Word of God. We hear what God has to say. Then we live out on Monday what we learn on Sunday. I'm going to say it again. We live out on Monday what we learn on Sunday. Check this out. It says, blessed is the man that walks not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor stands in the path of sinners, nor sits in the seat of the scornful, but his delight is in the law of the Lord, and in his law doth he meditate day and night. Now here's what happens if you meditate day and night. You'll be like a tree planted by the rivers of living water, and you'll bring forth fruit in its season. Again, don't sit in the path of sinners. So back to the buffet. Sitting at the buffet, I wish my life was better. I wish I was healthier. I wish I was happier. I wish. Joyce Meyer said, we need less wishbone and more backbone. And so we need to find out, okay, where do I want to go in life? Do I want to be successful? Do I want to be medium successful? Do I want to be, and by the way, when I say success, if you just think money, that's a perverted form. Success includes money, but I've seen a lot of people with a lot of money, but they really weren't successful because they weren't happy at home. In fact, most successful people aren't happy at home because they're so busy trying to make money, and nothing wrong with that they neglect the thing that is at home, and then their daughter or son has daddy issues while they're out working trying to prove something because they had a daddy issue. This will make my dad proud, won't it? This will make my mom proud, won't it? And so it all really only changes when you bring it to the cross, when you bring it to Jesus, when you bring it to church and say, you know what? I'm complete because I'm complete in him. I'm complete because he loves me. I could never love him as much as he loves me. Somebody ought to give God praise today. Come on, St. Louis. So you'll be like a tree planted by the rivers of living water. Now, here's something that I love the confidence in. When you get around the right people and you ask the right questions, you'll get the right answers. Somebody told Nicole last week that they had kind of left their job of 6 figures and they kind of floating around and they're like, I'm day trading. And she said, who's your mentor? And the more Nicole talked to the person, they were being mentored by a person that had never been a day trader. This is not wise, right? Not even a night trader. Okay, so you need to look for people when you are doing relationships that are either you're helping them up, and that's the reason why the relationship's there, or they're helping you, or really it's best to be right beside each other. Pastor Micah sent me a picture of these, true story of these Navy SEALs, and they were all in the water together, and they said when they're being beat by the waves and when they're overcome by the waves, they all join and lock arms together, and when they lock arms together, they all kind of stay stable because one is holding the other one down, and it's a beautiful thing when you lock arms with the right people. This is what Navy SEALs do. May I suggest to you that that's exactly what happens at Sunset Hills and Earth City and Ferguson and Weldon and RPC and all the churches that we have. When you lock arms with people, you say, I want to be in a connect group. There's a food group. There's a motorcycle group. There's a bowling group. There's a knitting group. There's a Bible group. There's a divorce recovery group. There's a recovering alcoholic group. There's a group. And if we don't have a group, for you, then that means you probably need to start that group. Because there's a hole somewhere in the universe until you say, I'm going to lay down my life to help somebody else's life get better because I don't want them to go through what I went through. Go ahead, give God praise today. Acts 2, verse 42. It says, they devoted themselves to the apostles' teaching, right now is what we're doing, and to the fellowship, everybody shout, fellowship, to the breaking of bread and prayer together. So they dedicated themselves to fellowship and the breaking of bread together. This is small groups, guys. You're not in a small group because you're a pastor. No. You're in a small group because people need people. When you do life alone, you feel alone. In fact, even now, all of us have a phone in our pocket, right? Raise your hand if you got a phone really near to you, right? Have you ever felt like, oh my gosh, I got to go home because my phone's dying? Huh? I can't be out here alone without my phone. Come on, raise your hand if you're as bad as me. I'm like, people are like, you tired? No. Why are you going home? My phone's dying. I got to go. But it's proven fact now that people have more connectivity than ever, but they're lonelier than ever. Because most of their connectivity is online. And this is why I'm all for online church for the back things I just said a moment ago that we need. But if you're anywhere within an hour drive, a church alive is worth the drive. And the Bible said, forsake not the assemblies of yourself together. And not only do you need it, your kids need it. In fact, recently, a woman told me, please tell my husband, I really need to go to church. And he's super, super smart, and he's super intelligent, and he just thinks he's so smart, and he really is, that he doesn't really need church. And that might be that he doesn't need church, but she did, and she committed suicide in the shower a few weeks later. And so you don't realize that people are crying for help. And some people will never cry for help. They just kind of telling you, I need help. And you need to have the good sense. Raise your hand if you think you got good sense. Then you need to have the good sense to know you might need a group and you might not need church, you think. But you know who does? Your children and your family need the connectivity of sincerity and interaction with people of God. So they had all things in common, and they broke bread together, and everyone was filled with awe, and many wonders and miraculous signs were done by the apostles, and all the believers were together. Everybody shout, we're together. Come on, St. Louis, what is it? So they weren't, I'm at my house, you're at your house, I'm in my car, you're in your, they were all together. And they had everything in common, selling their goods and possessions, and they gave to anyone who had need. And every day they continued to meet together in the temple courts. Every day. They broke bread in their homes, and they ate together, praising God, enjoying the favor of God and the people. And the Lord added daily the number of those that were being saved. So when a church works right, then people's lives are changed, and their lives get better. So how many of y'all all understand it? It's a two-player situation. Also, when you're playing a game, you can get a higher score if you just take a break for a minute. So take a break and allow other people to speak into your life and invest into you. Again, I know I said it a lot, but I really want to get it on the inside of you. Show me your friends, I'll show you your future. There's a passage in the Bible in Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, where there was one guy who was a paralytic man, and he needed to get to church, to get to Jesus, to get deliverance and get healing. In fact, he was lame. He couldn't walk at all. Some of you can physically walk, but you can't walk past the addiction right now. You can't walk out of the depression right now. And so he had 4 crazy friends, and the 4 crazy friends came to the church service to bring him in. Jesus was in preaching, but it was so packed that they couldn't get in. So they said, we got another way in. We're actually going to leverage our strength right now. And they got some ropes and some hoists, and they hoisted him on the roof. Then they started digging through the thatch on the roof to lower the man down. All of a sudden, Jesus is preaching. Watch this. He's preaching, and all of a sudden, hay and stubble and stuff starts falling down. And now this guy is being lowered by his friends on a bed. And Jesus said, and Jesus saw their faith. Well, I guess he did. It would be kind of hard not to see their faith. So 4 crazy friends lowered a man who couldn't lower themselves down in front of Jesus, brought him to church, allowed the believers to pray. Next thing you know, Jesus looks at him, lays hands on him, and he completely gets restored. And the Bible said he picked up his mat and he walked out because his friends lowered him. Somebody ought to give God praise today. Show me your friends, I'll show you your future. So when you're down, you need some friends to lift you up. When you feel depressed, you need some friends to cheer you up. Wherever you're at right now in life, I promise you, you can go fast if you're alone, but you won't go far because it's not good for a man to live alone. You'll self-sabotage. You'll burn out. You'll be overwhelmed. God never designed his people to be alone. Everybody shout, I am not alone. Now, I got this statement I want to put on the screen. You can take a picture of it if you want, but just remember it. Who's looking out for you, and who are you looking out for? I say it all the time. You need people who know you, K-N-O-W, they know you. And then you need people that N-O you, know. Because I know you, you typically don't put the weave on and get your nails did and wear that skirt to go to your mama's house. You're lying to me right now. Come on, somebody. I know you're lying to me. Turn your location services on and let me track you because I don't think you're going to mama's house. In fact, in St. Louis, there's a couple bars that say mama's house, which is hilarious, so they can tell their wife, where you at? I'm at mama's house. So you need people who know you and say, hey, I'm not going to allow you to go back to where you came from. It's time for you to connect with some people on another level. So there's some people that you're going to reach down and help. There's some people that are going to help you. Years ago, I was probably about 10 years ago, I was on vacation with a friend, and he was quite successful. And I asked him because I was getting out of some real estate that we were in to where you have to go collect rent and all that kind of stuff that we used to do years ago. And I wanted to get in a different field. And I was asking him about apartment complexes. And all of a sudden now he says, well, you can talk to my friend. And he gave me his name and number. And come to find out, this guy would go in and he would buy big apartment complexes in Oklahoma City and Phoenix and so on. And we could all do it together. And he would actually start fixing them up and remodeling them. And as the profit went up, the rent would go up. And within 5 years, most of the time, he doubled the money. And he'd been doing this with my friend, and he'd never lost any money. He'd doubled his money every year for 10 years. But because of my asking the right person, I got the right answer, and I was able to get out of the type of rental business that I was in and get into this rental business, so I never had to deal with any of it. I'm just here to tell you, whether it's finance, health, family, whatever it is, somebody within your group is going to know that. And again, you can't just go into a group and go, hey, who here knows how to make me rich? Who knows how to marry a hot guy with abs and money? Who is it? Is there? Oh, wrong group. You can't go into that. You just got to do life with people. That's why I like our young adults and students at our church, man. They sit together, they sing together, they scream together, they worship together, and then life takes them on a journey to where the people that they're with are on the same path. Raise your hand if this makes sense. I'm almost done. Again, show me your friends, I'll show you your future. There's one more I want to put up. It says, you'll have the combined health and attitude and income of the 5 people you hang around the most. Jim Rohn said that. And I have found that some people in my life make me a whole lot better. For one, my pastor, Pastor Chris Hodges, in fact, he gave me this ring, and it says it's the Aura ring. And on the side's all this little data research that happens, and it tells me the blood pressure, how many minutes I slept in deep sleep, what REM sleep. Everything about you is recorded on this ring. And then he can watch my ring, and I can watch his ring, and we have some friends that do that together. And so the data and the technology helps if you're into health, nutrition, and wanting to make your life better. In fact, my life's so good, the only reason why I wear it is because I'm trying to figure out how to live forever. But I've watched people that are 60 and 70 and 80 years old, and many of them aren't really living, and they haven't lived in a long time. So I think when you get around the right people and they monitor you, and I'm not just talking about the ring, I'm just talking about monitoring your health. How you doing? What's going on? I'm fine. Anybody ever told you I'm fine? You're like, I can just tell you're not fine.
Hey, thank you for watching Faith Church on YouTube, and I want you to subscribe so you can know whenever we go live and post new content. You can also comment below and let us know if the message spoke to you. When you're watching, also know that we want to pray for you. We want to know what's going on in your world, so you can comment below and we'll pray for you. Thanks again for watching on YouTube, and we'll see you next time.